Hi everyone, it's me, Allie. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Masterclass, where we refresh, renew, and reveal a new you for a life you love. How are you? How have you been? How have you been doing with the current lesson of changing your thoughts and switching your words and thoughts to better your life? As we talked about earlier in this series, your thoughts and your words determine the condition of your life. And the purpose of this channel is to ensure that you're leading towards your abundant life, your life of purpose, right? We all want to be happy, healthy, and wealthy, but how do we get there? One way to get there, it's not the only way, but one way to get there is what we're focusing on is how our thoughts manifest into our destinies and manipulating that as much as we can to get the best out of our life circumstances. Right? So remember that the universe is one of law. It's not of confusion. When A happens, it leads to B. When B happens, it leads to C. So nothing is left to chance. Not saying that if you start off one way, you can't end up a different way, but you'll have to have your actions follow the way and the direction that you want to go. All right, so I have a couple of things written down here for you. So we like to say, change your thoughts and you change immediately the world and the material conditions of your life. And this is something that we talk about, or I talk about a lot on this channel. And before it sounded like a bunch of hocus pocus to me. And you know what? Making that switching the connection of the thoughts that come to mind, the words that I use, has significantly altered different circumstances in my life. Not saying that just switching words and thought is a magic bullet to gaining success and abundance, but it is one of the first components that are necessary in order to take the different steps necessary to change your life. In this video, we're going to focus on the types of thoughts that we have that might be damaging to our lives and what kinds of thoughts should we have to have a more meaningful life. Reading self-help books, one of my favorite book is a book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. This book has been around since 1903. And believe me, the content in this book, I believe, was the base and the foundation of all other self-help books that came afterwards. The Secret and all these others. Very simple book, about 50 pages that will change your life forever. And I do have some things here summarized that I thought was very captivating for me, and very material, something tangible that I could put my hands on when it comes on to thoughts and how those thoughts affect our lives. I'm going to be doing a little bit of reading because I don't want to give you wrong information. So if you see me looking into my book, it's because I am going through some very important points that I got from the book and that I want to share with you.
I can tell you from experience that the surest way up the ladder is to listen carefully and follow my orders.
All right, so the first thing that we have to realize is that our thoughts cannot be kept secret, right? No matter how much you think that your thought is only happening in your head, unfortunately what happens, or fortunately, your thoughts cannot be kept secret because they materialize and become your habits. And your habits determine your life circumstances. Let me be clear. You may think that your thoughts are not revealed to others because it's silent. First of all, your thoughts then becomes your words that you use, right? And not only do they become the words that you use, it become your habits. And we know how hard it is and how challenging it is to change habits or get new habits. We have to be persistent because your habits determine the circumstances and the condition of your life. For example, let's go into a couple of thought patterns that might be negative, and here you will be able to find truly when you look into yourself to see, hey, are these my thoughts? Now, how do I fix that? And is this going according to what I'm seeing in my life? Then you know that you start first with trying to fix this thought. Anyway, so lustful thoughts become habits of drunkenness and sensuality. So engaging in thoughts that are lustful on a frequent basis, just think about this. And James Allen did this very, very well in his book. Think of your mind, your subconscious mind, as a garden. If you tend to that garden, you pull out weeds meaning negative thoughts, negative intentions, negative words. Make sure you tend to that garden. You will see how you have flowers, it blooms, it looks neat, it's aesthetic, and you have a wonderful experience in that garden. If you think of your mind again as a garden, but there are weeds growing, it kills, number one, the good plants that are trying to come out. It also suffocates growth, right? So if you're not pulling those weeds, which are negative thoughts, then you see how your subconscious mind then become crowded and might even be overrun by the wrong thoughts. Now, how can it be when it gets overrun by these negative thought patterns? It becomes your habit. And if you have all weeds in this garden, that is what you are. That is how you become, right? Because you cannot expect nicely blooming flowers in a crowded, weeded garden, right? Does that make sense?
You might like to start your own garden.
So anyway, going back to the list. Lustful thoughts leads to habits of drunkenness.
I had lustful thoughts about the gardener's boy.
And sensuality. And your life circumstances often lead to destitution and disease. Impure thoughts leads to habits of confusion and debilitating weaknesses in life. These lead to circumstances that are distracting and adverse. So if you're constantly thinking of negative thoughts, impure thoughts, thoughts that do not benefit humanity at all, or your community, or benefit a person, you're thinking like really bad things about it. I don't really like this girl, and I hope this happens to her, hope that happens to her. Yeah, you get confused in your life and it debilitates you. You can't really function when you're having thoughts that are not good for you or anyone else. So this often leads to distracting and adverse conditions, meaning you could be in prison, you could go to jail if you continue to have these negative thoughts towards others. Thoughts of fear, doubt, and indecisiveness leads to habits of weakness, unmanliness, and uncertain behaviors or patterns. So when you keep on, and being in fear, doubt, and indecision is one of the most debilitating thought patterns that you can be in. It leads to circumstances of failure, indigence, and slavish dependence on others, right? So let me repeat. I think this one is the most important one if you forget everything else. Thoughts of fear, doubt, and indecision leads to habits of weakness, unmanliness, and uncertain behaviors, meaning you cannot make a decision, you don't know how to, you doubt yourself on every step. It leads to circumstances of failure, indigence, and slavish dependence on others, always.
Why do we have to live in constant fear?
Lazy thoughts. This leads to habits of uncleanliness, dishonesty. And your life circumstances end up being unpleasantness, rudeness, and you may have to continue to beg and plead for a better job, a better life. Because of your lazy thought patterns, you become a lazy person. Hateful and condemnatory thoughts. So when you're hateful and you condemn others, and that's the majority of the weeds that grow around your mind, this leads to habits of accusation and violence. Your circumstances in life always leads to persecution and injury. Just think about a person who's always violent, who's always hateful towards other people, who lives that kind of life, and those weeds take over that brain. It leads to nowhere but either imprisonment, persecution. They get in fights. They're often beat up. I mean, it is what it is. That's the law, and that's what it says, right? Selfish thoughts leads to habits of self-seeking and often leads to circumstances that are very distressful to us. People don't trust us, people don't like us, we don't get things from other people don't help us out as much because we don't help them. And lastly, selfish thoughts,
yes, I am very selfish,
leads to habits of self-seeking, and those circumstances in your life becomes very distressing. You're selfish, you realize doors don't open for you, people don't all the way for you because you are selfish, then you get selfish acts in return from other people. So this is the law of the universe. It says that when you're selfish, it leads to habits of self-seeking, and then you reap distressing habits from others, right? You reap distressing circumstances from others. On the other note, let's talk about the positives, right? So beautiful thoughts become habits of grace and kindness. Your circumstances are those of sunny and elevating circumstances. So when you think beautiful thoughts, the law says this leads to habits of grace and kindness, and your circumstances are sunny and elevating for you. Pure thoughts, right? This leads to habits of temperaments and self-control, which leads to circumstances of peace, repose. You're restful, you get to sleep at night. So when you think pure thoughts, your habits become that of someone with self-control and a good temperament. And you ever see someone with a good temperament? They're calm, they're happy, they're peaceful.
I felt so peaceful inside. No strange urge to be somewhere else.
Thoughts of courage and self-reliancy, meaning you are able to make decisions and you're sure about yourself, you're not doubting yourself, and you're not responding to life out of fear, which leads to habits which are more manly, masculine habits, which we all have to have a good balance of masculine and feminine, okay, which leads to success, plenty, and freedom. Here again, habits of courage, self-reliance, and decision making, which is the opposite of fear, doubt, and indecision, leads to more masculine habits, which allows you to have circumstances in your life of success, plenty, and freedom. Energetic thoughts instead of lazy ones leads to habits of cleanliness and industry, meaning hard work. You work harder when you're energetic. These lead to circumstances in your life that are much more pleasant. You have all kinds of pleasantries because you work hard and you're an energetic person, but
you are a very energetic human.
First starts with your thoughts. And gentle and forgiving thoughts instead of selfish ones leads to gentle habits. And the circumstances in your life from that lead to protective and preservative circumstances. So ladies, be gentle and forgiving if you want someone to be a protector for you and you want others to help you. All right, so gentle and forgiving thoughts leads to gentle habits, which causes your life circumstances to draw in protective and preservative circumstances. Okay, loving and unselfish thoughts leads to habits of self-forgiveness for others, which leads to circumstances of sure and abiding prosperity and riches. Let me repeat that one more time, because some of us are looking for a golden key, a bullet, a magic pill for success and abundance. Let me repeat that. Loving and unselfish thoughts leads to habits of self-forgiveness for others. So forgiveness of others is a habit that you display when you are a person that have loving and unselfish thoughts. This, my friends, is the way to get the circumstances in your life that cause and lead to abundance. Your circumstances will show sure and abiding prosperity and riches if you have loving and unselfish thoughts. Let that sink in for a little bit, okay? Think about this very, very carefully. The key to material abundance and riches would be to have loving and unselfish thoughts for yourself and others, because it shows that your life circumstances will show you will have abiding prosperity and success and riches, because you have habits of self-forgiveness and love towards others.
But this is a magic pill.
So if you enter into a particular thought pattern in your mind, this manifests daily into your habits, and your habits prove to be your life circumstance. So guys, change your thoughts in order to change your habits, in order to change your circumstances. If it's good, you'll reap good things. If your thoughts are often bad, you heard the list of negative thought patterns and what they lead to. Your character will show it. Think of your mind as a garden. Do you want your garden to be thriving? Should it have flowers, trees? Do you want a neatly cut grass and everything? That is your life of abundance, health, and wealth, right? You have a mind that's cluttered with negative thoughts, weeds. You're going to suffocate the good plants. You're not going to have flowers, and then your mind, this garden, is going to be overrun with negativity. Your character will show it, and your life circumstances will be the proof. So being abundant, happy, and wealthy is not by chance. It's for only the people who chooses to start from the top by changing their thought patterns, changing their words, and taking action to do these things in order to change their habits in life. So habits determine your destiny. All right? Thoughts become your habits, and your habits are your life circumstances are determined by the habits that you choose daily. So I know that was, quite a bit of information in one video. Go back, replay it. If you want to just kind of write down those thought patterns that I talked about and what those thought patterns, and it's not that if you think about it one time or so, and no. This is saying when you have these recurrent thought patterns that become the weeds of your mind, right? So nobody's perfect. So we're not saying that these thoughts will never enter your mind. You have to be able to go back to a couple of videos that I did and switch. Whenever you feel these negative thought patterns entering your mind, you should know how to switch that right away and switch it into a thought pattern that will be more successful for you. Okay, so thank you so much again for watching this video. I'm hoping that this video will allow you to do two things: identify thought patterns that need to be changed and change them. 2, understanding that your thought patterns become your habits, and your habits become your circumstances in life, and your habits also determine your character. And your character is 100% of what you get out of life, right? Whatever character you have is shaped and molded by how you think, how you live, and there becomes your life circumstances. So take out luck, chance, and all those words out of it. You have the power to change whatever you want to change. You have the power.
You have the power to make anything you want happen.
And my goal is to help you with the tools that you need. So please, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and also send it to your friends so they could also make that switch or change needed in their lives to live their true potential. I'm hoping that with these videos, everyone can help towards getting closer to their life purpose by eliminating negative habits, negative thoughts, and changing their lives in order to be the person they'd like to be next. Right? No matter what age we are, it's never too late to change. And I thank you so much for watching. And until next time, walk good. Bye.